Hey, shalom, shalom. Sister Kate here. It's 9:20 in the morning, and it has been, was very, very dark out. It's kind of lightening up because the rain is coming down, but it was so dark that Pastor and I both had to put on our headlamps to, whoa, I'm not going to be able to get that down in there. There's a tarp. There you go. What are you doing there, Pastor? Yeah, hardly anybody there because we didn't announce it.
You want me to play
Sure.
a 10-second intro?
Yes, 10-second intro coming up, care of the PJF. Shalom, Arthur. Shalom, Sugar Creek, Homestead of Tennessee, and John Rhea. Here it is. Take us over to 10 seconds. Yeah. Had to hold the stand because the wind picked up. I thought it was going to blow it over. Shalom. Oh, and I can feel the rain. Yes. Shalom. Shalom. Kai, Jen, and Linda. And who else is here? Scony John. And brother Northwest Arkansas Prepper. Saw your picture of tomato on the Instagram. Looks very healthy. There's Adonir. Hello. Good morning, John Reed. John, I made a comment on something you posted. If you're on the Instagram, you would see that we are working on our kitchen. Look at me, I'm always a mess. Working on our kitchen, and once that's up, then my intent is to put the towel racks up because they're exactly what I wanted, and I can't wait to start using them. Hello, hello, hello. So, well, I just had an idea. I may do a live edible plant walk too in the future. If you guys think that's a good idea, just, do like a thumbs up for a plant walk. Man, our place is totally trashed. Like, if you look at a video from a couple of, 2 weeks ago, we were feeling pretty comfortable in the way everything was situated inside, and then Pastor just got motivated. He woke up and just said, we're going to do the kitchen, and wow, I'm getting rained on. And so we started doing the things. We moved everything out. It's all stacked up in the living room now. The living room was already completely, what do you call it? Like every flat space already had stuff on it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. What is my Insta? I'm not sure exactly. I know that's a stupid answer. I think it's Sister Kate Shofar Mountain, something like that. Lives outdoors. Yes, plant walk. Okay, cool. And there's Biddy Boo, my friend Biddy Boo, and Sheepdog Patriot, and Chasing Life. I am fine. And there's Sergeant James. So I got one yes on an edible plant walk live. Can you guys hear that? Special effects from the special effects department. Yeah, so Pastor got all excited. He had to move everything out of the kitchen. Oh, I'm going to show you something. Here's a live scene from Shofar Mountain right here. You see that bucket? It's supposed to be catching. Whoa. It's supposed to be catching that water because that's what we wash with. And then the overflows goes down into this little deal right here. So there you go. Some live action reality TV from Shofar Mountain. The rain catchment, so technical. Okay, so then he ordered the drywall. I went over to Lowe's. I picked it up. No, we both went. We both went and picked it up, but they loaded it because they have that service. 2 or 3 young people loaded it up for us. We brought it back. And he had already bought those little drill attachments to, so you don't go too far through the paper. And he already had bought the screws. So he started putting stuff up. He had a knife ready to cut it and everything. And that first day, I think he got at least half of the kitchen walls done. I mean, it's not a big kitchen either. That's the thing. That kitchen was only 10 by 20. Head to Tulsa for a doctor appointment. All right, Biddy Boo. I'm praying that doctor appointment it comes out fine. Hi, over the bus. So, yeah. Can you guys still hear me with all the storming in the background? I'll show you that too. See, the wind is blowing stuff around and the rain is pouring down. For prep day today, there'll be a lot of indoor stuff going on, cleaning and whatnot. You can hear. Okay, good. We will see what they're going to do with my knee, I guess. Okay, and you can hear me just fine. Thank you. Thank you for answering me. And then yesterday, whoa, I am getting soaked. I guess I'm going to put this on. Some wind here. Yesterday, Pastor was like, you start mudding and taping. Now, I'm not going to act like I don't know what mudding and taping is. Hey, Farmer, good morning. Really good posts on Instagram. Lots of stuff going on your farmstead, and it's a cute little farmstead, too. I'm not going to act like I don't know what mudding and taping is. I've seen people do it, but I've never done it, and I kind of knew the concepts. So Pastor told me, watch a video on YouTube, and I did. And then I just started doing it. And I posted one picture up on Instagram, kind of joking because I'm under no illusion that I am perfect at doing that thing. Oh my gosh. Bitty Boo, are you getting this rain? Quality Gore-Tex. It is. It's really good Gore-Tex. Yeah. And I got, one wall and probably half of another one done, including an interior corner, which is not beautiful. I'm hoping that it's the mud and tape had dried correctly and the tape's not going to come off. Then I watched a video about doing an interior corner again and kind of got a better idea of what I ought to be doing. So we have taken a day off. This is prep day for us. And before this rain came down, I already let my chickens out and fed them and went down to the ducks in the orchard, let them out, fed them, and did a little work down there, pulled some weeds, and I'm adding wood down there to some beds because I planted some flowers and some vegetables down there. And I'm trying to delineate them so I don't walk over them or things like that. And I literally outran this storm. Like not run, but I walked really fast and the storm was right there. Like I could feel it and smell it getting ready to break. And then when I got here, it was so dark. I said, Pastor, I should do a live stream. This should show you all. Here. It's reality TV, folks. This is not a set. Still doing bird control. Lives outdoors. We are ready for a little rain now. You guys can have all you want, but it's supposed to rain here for a week and a half. And if you watch the garden video, everything's been growing okay, but the warm weather crops could probably use a little warm sun. Hey, Susan Bryant, shalom. So, yeah, when we got here, I decided to try a live stream. I thought I'd do it during the day because we so often do them at night. And so here I am. I also have a video I'm going to upload today with me milking the one little goat. if you remember her from the previous video, she was the one whose baby died, and she's a young mom, so she's, this is her first time around, and the first day I milked her, she didn't fight me at all, and I was like, wow, that's weird, and she was really easy to milk. Good morning, Moonlight. Good morning, Shalom. So I've moved all the goats to the bottom part of the property. We have a very big pen down there, and it's got some shelters in it, and I also swapped my billy goat. I have that cute white billy goat with the big whiskers who's on the magnets that I painted. I swapped him with another sister who had a billy goat. Now you're going to have to follow this story because it's kind of a noodle. It's a billy goat. Her billy goat is a black billy goat, and he is the son of a nanny that I bought here from a Hmong fellow who runs a farm nearby. And her name is Blackberry. And my daughter noticed about Blackberry that she was very smart about self-preservation. So when I had my operation and everything, I gave my goats to my son. So Blackberry went up to Kansas. And Blackberry had twin boys up there, twin sons, and they were all three just very wild. And then my son started having problems with the goats up there, so he gave one of those sons to the Neo-Hermitex, who lived right up the road from me. And she really liked that goat, and she had that goat here a couple of years. And meanwhile, I had a little pinkish colored one that I bought, and then I swapped him out with somebody, and the white one that you saw with the big beard, he was born to the nannies that I had. So he was one that was like direct descendant. Well, the black one was acting up there, and the white one is this brother to the nannies that I have, and he's also distantly brother-in-law kind of relationship. And so I decided I wanted to breed my billies to the black billy. Good, I'm glad. Yeah. Susan, you shouldn't be feeling guilty. So the black billy is here. The white billy is now at a sister's that I swapped with. And he's in with the nannies, hopefully to breed them. So they will kid in the October time frame. And I'm hoping that kidding will be a better one than this spring, where 3 out of 4 of the babies died. So, but got a video coming. I'm milking that little goat, but there's no milk stand down where she is. So I drive the 4-wheeler down there, and I milk her right on the 4-wheeler. So I did a video about that, and I'm hoping to upload that soon. The Greek Homestead, shalom, Shelly W, hello. Moonlight's going back to work. William Welch, shalom, enjoying the show, but buffering badly in Texas. I'm not feeling guilty over sitting down. That's right. Shalom. That's a portable milking stand. That's exactly right. The ATV serves many purposes. We lost 3 or 4 of our kids this year as well. Storm live stream. That's exactly right. I've showed a couple of scenes from the wind is blowing, the rain is falling. I'm doing my attachment. How's the kitchen coming along? I came in slow Starlitic. Pastor has it almost all drywall. He only has about 3 more pieces to put up on the ceiling. And then all the drywall is up. And I have mud and taped only about 1 corner of it. And if you guys have any tips on mudding and taping, please put them up there, because I'd love to hear tips. And look, here comes my dog. He tried to gut it out in his kennel, but it's too much for him. Look at him. He hates the rain. What are you doing, Zoc? Huh? You don't like that. No. See, he wants to go in the house. Am I showing him? Yeah, there he is. Yep, he wants to go inside. He doesn't like it. He hates stuff hitting his ears and things. So, what did you guys think of the garden? Did you watch the garden video? I have fixed a lot of holes in sheetrock, but never put it in new. Sand each layer of mud after tape. Okay, we have that. We have handheld sanders, and then we have the one on the pole, and we got different sanding, what do you call it? Textures, you know, finer and stuff. Love the garden dig, Linda. Nice garden, looks really hardy. Many thin layers are better than thick. Instead of dry sanding, use a damp sponge. Help smooth it out and keep the house not dusty. Okay, I saw on the video about the wet sanding, but I don't know that we got a sponge. Will anything do? Could I use a paper towel? Garden is good. Love the garden. You know, it didn't even occur to me. Like in the past, I've done garden videos. I've done them, I think, every year. And our garden has been okay at times. It's been sometimes too weedy. We normally do get some produce out of it, and then the bugs like decimate the greens, the cabbage. A couple of years ago, I had nice, healthy cabbage heads, and I just let them stay out there. And I thought, you know, when I get a minute, I'll go out and I'll cut them. And I let them go too long, and the bugs just ate all the way through the middle of them. Like, it was terrible. And I was watching somebody else's garden video. I don't even remember who, Self-Sufficient Me or somebody. And I thought, my garden's doing okay this year. I ought to get that on video that I actually have a year where the garden looks pretty good. So I was really excited about that. One of those car sponges works great. Warm bucket of water, rinse the sponge often. Grab a tile or car wash type sponge. You want the white space to spread the pressure out. All right, we'll have to get that later. I don't think we got that thing. Wow. Should I show you that? I'm telling you, the wind is just blowing the trees around. It's got to be at least 25-mile-an-hour winds over there. Let's see if I can get that. Can you guys see that? Yeah, I think it's going to be an inside day today. I think it's going to be a sweeping the floor and making the bed and arranging things because so much stuff is out of order inside. I think that's the kind of day it's going to be today. Have you tried using anti-bug mesh? No, I have not. The plastic fencing that I have up there does a decent job, but it would have to be a lot of mesh because I have the whole greenhouse and at least 2 or 3 of those long beds. Those beds are 16 feet long. All right, shalom, farmhouse. I don't know how long I can stay out here anyway. I will send you some to try. Okay, Linda, an idea I had, instead of trying to cover all the beds and everything, was possibly making some kind of smaller cover, you know, maybe screen for some of the plants, to save some of the plants and, you know, let them have the rest, but to have enough that I can still dehydrate. Although in weather like this, I'm not going to be able to dehydrate for another week and a half. Hopefully those trees are pretty sturdy and they don't come down. Yeah, they're pretty much younger, smaller trees, but this is why Pastor cut the trees around the house. There are no trees right now that can fall on our house. And he's got Jack out in the middle of a free space too, so our problem bug in our garden is slugs. Westhold Forge, I have a couple of tips on slugs. I used to live in an area with the slugs. You can put a platter bowl out there with beer in it, and a lot of times they'll come in, they'll get drowned in it, or you can also put like a plate or something out there with salt, and if they go across the salt, it just like dries them up. Almost June and still in winter gear. Well, it's almost June and I'm definitely in my rain gear because this rain, the temperatures here have been around like 72, 76, 78, which is nice. I mean, if it was like that year round, we'd be in Monterey, California, where all the millionaires live. So, yeah. They are cloud seeding. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, veggies you want to keep exactly. Bill Gates and Harvard, blocking the sun. Look it up. Um, maybe, maybe not. I use the stale ale method. There you go. I also tend to think the weather patterns are exactly what Yahweh wants them to be, and that doesn't always mean they're going to be favorable to us. Sometimes he's using that weather to punish people. He sends floods, he sends droughts, and so I just am constantly wondering, Father, you know, how can I best use what you're sending me is kind of the way I look at it. Been really wet in my neck of the woods. I've gotten about an extra foot of rain this year. Yeah, I think this has been a cooler, darker spring. And on the last live stream, I talked about how the fires in Australia, you know, any big natural disaster that puts a lot of stuff in the air can cause weather changes. Now, I'm not saying directly, because I have no idea, I haven't studied it at all, that the fires in Australia are making it, you know, rainier in America. I don't know if it works that way. I think it would probably be a lot more localized than that. So, I don't know, man. The Father's will. His will be done. Are you looking for screen to dry fruit and veg? If so, I use muslin or nylon tulle. The fabric lasts forever and is washable. Tulle makes a cute petticoat thing too. Tulle lasts one season, but help me make a step forward. So much using a material, honey. What I have found works for me for drying things here, besides using my solar dehydrator, is to put the stuff, like this week I tried 5 different things. I tried wild bergamot, clover, rose petals. There's 2 other things I tried. Blackberry leaves, and, oh man, I can't remember the last one. Some sort of green. I put them on cookie trays, cookie sheets, and I put them in our cars. Most especially that little black pickup that I tried to make, I think I tried to bake bread or make bread rising a couple of years ago. And it worked. I mean, it dried it out because we had 2 days of sun. It dried that stuff out in 1 day. And I'm going to use the clover, the leaves, the bergamot, and the rose petals, all of them for tea. Because if I'm not going to the store as much, I need things to be my tea. I like to drink tea. Christ Father, 75 here is beautiful. I believe this is only the 3rd day that we've had 70 plus weather. Not many in the 60s even. Wow. Well, I'm glad it's gotten warmer. Do you use DE in the garden for pests? I have used DE in the garden. I'm not convinced it works as well as people think it does. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means I haven't used it enough to be able to say definitely that it does the job. I do have an organic spray. It's called Spinosad, and it's supposed to act kind of like DE does. You spray it on things and it's supposed to infect the bugs. And, you know, it's hard to tell right now if it's worked or not because of the weather. I did expect to see a lot more of those beetles than are out there right now, so maybe they are also waiting for hot weather. I think the weather triggers different things. Hello, Palmetto Paratroopers, shalom. I saw you sign in. Do you know how to preserve rocket lettuce? We like it a lot because it's spicy, so we grow a lot. No, I don't know what rocket lettuce is, but I will tell you that I'm not preserving any lettuce because in my mind lettuce is better fresh. I haven't even tried it, but I am preserving the kale and the turnip greens and the mustard greens by drying them. So there you go. How are you keeping bugs off your potatoes? Probably we'll sprinkle some 7 dust on them, which I know is not going to make the people who, you know, think we should eat organic very happy, but it's pretty effective. But right now our potatoes aren't big enough and they don't have any bugs, so I had chipmunks swarming the garden this year. This is a new problem. Lots of bunnies, but for some reason... Cue the special effects! But for some reason right now, it's not an issue. Okay, hang on. Whoa. No. I've had chipmunks swarming. This is a new problem. Lots of bunnies. For some reason, they haven't been a problem yet. Okay. Yeah, chipmunks are very destructive. They are cute as addicting, but chipmunks are very destructive. Whoa. The lid of our trough almost blew off. And chipmunks are actually more like tiny bears. So chipmunks will eat baby birds and things like that. So my mother-in-law, stepmother-in-law, she used to have chipmunks at her place in Oregon, a gorgeous backyard. And she thought they were really cute until they started doing things like eating her strawberry bushes and her ornamental plants and just being a real pain in their garden. And so she started target practice shooting the chipmunks. We have chipmunks here, but they haven't gotten in the garden yet. I would think covering the plants with some kind of screening or netting would be better than, or live trapping. You could try to live trap them. If you could trap them and rehome them, then no more problem. Same thing around. It sounds like you got some of our September weather over there. Is there a hurricane? No, this is just the beginning of a week and a half of a rainy day, Palmetto. And this storm is sitting basically right on our mountain. That bucket I showed you guys earlier with the rain falling in it is already full. I should go get another one and replace that, but I'm not going to do it in the middle of the live stream. Not south northeast, yeah, northeast. Love your honesty. Oh my goodness. It's right over you, it sure is. Oh, and there is my husband. The cats take care of our chipmunks, right? If you have chipmunks and you have a dog or a cat, you can see if you can get them to take care of that problem for you. The ridgebacks love to chase them, but I don't know how successful they are at actually getting there. I'm going to show you one more live thing just because. The ducks, 3 of the ducks, I let the ducks out of their enclosure today and 3 of them came down. They're right back there behind Jack. They're having a heck of a time. I knew they would in the ring. I knew they'd love it. So they're out there just, you know, digging through the mud and all that other stuff. They're having a great time. Okay. We just had a week of rain ourselves. Do you have any cats? No, we do not. There's a couple. I love watching the ducks in the rain too, man. They dig it. They're the only ones on the farm who are enjoying this storm. There's 2 reasons we don't have cats. I like cats. I think cats are pretty. Generally, we're allergic to them. Now, I got a whole theory on allergies and how much you react to things. I've talked about that in prior videos. And I'll talk about it again here if you want, but I don't want to bore you guys. And the second reason is I'm not sure how the ridgebacks would act around them, and I'd feel really bad if they killed a cat or a kitten that we brought home. So I haven't tried it. 40 miles an hour wind. Yeah, we've lived in areas in the Midwest where the wind would get up to 75 and 80 regularly. The first windstorm we had in the house at High Prairie Acres, we had those cheap plastic chairs along the front of our porch, and there was a pool that we didn't put in, you know, a standing pool at the end, and the wind blew the chairs into the pool. And so we got up the next morning and we came out and I saw the chairs floating around. I thought, that's weird. Who would want to throw our chairs into the pool? Like, who vandalized our home? We just moved in. And then I realized, oh no, we had a storm last night. There were high winds and the winds just swept them right off, right into the pool. So, back to potatoes. Have you tried the root and stout method? Describe it to me. I have tried more than one method to do potatoes right now. Hey, Allegedly Mare. We have potatoes in the ground like normal, and I have one dark bucket with holes in the bottom with potatoes in it, like Sustainable Steward does, and I'm just seeing how they do. But those potatoes had not sprouted yet, so I thought put them in the right conditions, they should sprout. We'll see, but go ahead and explain it. People to intentionally put their patio furniture in the pool before a storm so they don't end up 5 miles away, right? I mean, the big joke there in the wind was, I'm watching the hummingbird at the feeder. The big joke there with the wind was those trampolines. That's not really a kid toy, that's just a sail. Because when 75 miles an hour hits a trampoline, it just flies. You can find it up in the tree. New sun from the Viking chair and then from their independent range stop has finished working. Do the things to say blessed be. Thank you, honey, Rowling, and welcome. Blessings to you too. Blessings to all y'all and shalom to all y'all. I'm just waiting for my trampoline to take off. I'm telling you, brother, I mean, at the very least, if we did not have one, I would put a cement block on each pole, maybe 2, and tie them on it. It's planting in loose hay. You do a layer of hay, lay your starter potatoes in and cover with a layer of hay. That's it. Now, lamp keeper, I did that. I did do that with an old bale of straw out in the pasture at High Prairie Acres, and the potatoes were growing. And then the free-range chickens figured it out and went over there and ate them all. Like dug through the straw, found the potatoes, and ate them. So I do think that hay planting thing works with potatoes. The one thing I did that didn't work well for me was putting them in a tire. And I think the tires got too hot. So if I were to do it again, I might paint the tire like white and then plant in it, because the potatoes only grew in the part of the tire in the middle that had no direct contact with the black rubber of the tire. All right, we mix DE in the soil. We have seen that the plants are stronger and healthier. Okay, so there you go. There's someone who has actually done the DE thing and says it works. Does it help control bugs? That's what I think the main question was. Does the DE help control bugs? Chicken potatoes, so tasty. If you use it in the garden, don't put it on the don't put it on the leaves. It kills the good insects like bees. Good point. Okay, so deep fried potatoes. We had fried potatoes as a meal this week because we missed that Flavo Flav. We've been eating a whole lot of greens. Momo, it must really be raining there. Hey, High Plains, Homestead. Did you see that lightning? That was a special effect lightning. Yeah, I showed a couple of things earlier on the live stream of the wind blowing the trees around, and a 5-gallon bucket filled up in about 10 minutes with the stuff coming off the roof. How you guys doing up there, High Plains Homestead? Whoa. I thought about adding DE while mixing my soil, but I wasn't sure about it. It works well. Chasing life, that's what the Greek Homestead said. So I'm gardening in containers till I solve my Bermuda grass problems. That's so true, and I realized, I'm like, where did this Bermuda grass come from? Because we have it too. And then I realized I'm buying bales of Bermuda grass hay to feed my goats, and then what they don't eat is planting itself, so it's here. But that black plastic that I covered part of the garden with appears to have killed it. And we've left it on there for at least, say, 6 weeks. When you take the plastic off, the seeds that were in the ground are still there, so you kind of have to till that soil up and pull out root balls and things, but the soil is softer. And then my deal right now is if it's growing, I'm hoeing it and just taking the whole clump of all the little grass and giving it to my chickens. Yeah, things are good. Officially summer break as of today. Hosting Shabbat gathering tomorrow. Only day forecasted to be sunny in the whole upcoming week. B-Day. That's right. We were supposed to have sun on Shabbat down here, and they changed it to rain. Well, I'm glad you're starting your summer break. Hallelujah. Hopefully we see you soon. I don't know, in mudding and taping, so we're starting a new skill set. Store seed potatoes with an apple to get the potatoes to sprout faster. Hey, good tip, John. I'm going to do that. I've got lots of apples. Supposed to be smiley face with glasses on. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't ever tried to do the emojis on comments. Wow. Started wearing my voice out. I had to talk so loud. So I'll sit out here another 20 minutes. Look at that. That bucket
Yeah,
filled
can I
up.
get by?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to tip you guys because Pastor's changing buckets out. Shalom, Mad Kelp. What have you been up to, brother? You're a busy fella. There we go. Check out Vancouver Carpenter on YouTube for mudding taping ticks. Live for ya. Man, I'm telling you, great minds think alike.
Live for ya.
Or live for ya. You're right. Well, hey, that's some of the videos I watched. I watched the Vancouver Carpenter, some of the tips, and then I watched another guy. I think he was, oh man, now I'm trying. Ivy Community College or something, and they had a whole course of videos on construction, and so I watched his basic one, and it was great. Finished the greenhouse, canning everything I can get my hands on, recruiting new folks for the mag. Well, good for you, Mad Kelp. I wish I could say I finished the greenhouse off, but the kitchen right now is our big project, so it's still in the list. Oh, needs to calm down a little bit. Thank goodness. How are your guys' gardens doing? Are you happy with what's going on? And if you've tried something different like container gardening, how's that going? High Plains Homestead, how's your garden going? Chasing life, some good stuff. Is anybody in an area where they're opening up? Gardens just in the beginning stages here. Compost and or seed sprouted teas. Compost or seed sprouted teas, because I've done both and they both work pretty good. 99 EP. I think all this rain we're having is slowing our stuff down. It's absolutely slowing it down. All the warm weather plants are going to not be growing that well because they need more sun and more warmth. My garden is jamming. I'm running out of room. All right, Kai-Jen, what's your favorite stuff in your garden? What is it? Wisconsin is opening a bit. Scotty John, did you have you checked out Sustainable Stewards YouTube page? She's in Wisconsin and she's a community supported farmer, and she has animals and cows, and she is really something, because my backyard is concrete, so I have potatoes in pots. Excellent. Starting to open up June 8th. I should be taking kids back then. Taking kids back where, Pharma? I'm not, my garden is going slow, not great weather so far. Exactly, yeah. I mean, the cold weather crops love it. The cold weather crops are doing great. The warm weather crops, not so much. Got 2.5 acres plowed, got 1,200 pounds of seed potatoes to put in. John, you never do anything small, do you, brother? Oh my gosh. So how do you plant them all, John? I would love to hear how you plant 1,200 pounds of potatoes. Yeah, but it looks fantastic, Chasing Life. Chasing Life, you're supposed to have sent me a picture or posted a picture in my comment section or something. I would love to see it. Plants look good. Livestock guardian dogs help with the container soil by digging in the old compost area. Good dogs. Just check the radar. We're getting your storm this afternoon. Yep, it's a week and a half of storms. A lot of rain here in MS, so most of the garden is slow. Kale is rocking it though. Yeah. I didn't even eat kale. I didn't even know what kale was when I grew up. It was just one of those words, like people would mention kale and I'd be like, I have no clue about kale. Until I grew a kale plant, and now I'm sold on kale. Just like I am on a lot of other greens. Kale is great. You eat it raw, you eat it cooked. It tastes great. Well, I don't even know if I got an heirloom variety or not, but I've had kale come up again the next year from plants the year before. I love that. I love when plants do that because I'm a lazy gardener. lots of time. We have several kinds of transplanters we use for different crops. I have an in-home daycare. Oh my goodness, Pharma. Oh, wow, I did not know that. Man. And here I thought, man, you're a very productive person, very busy, you're baking donuts, you're hatching chicks and ducks and all kinds of things going on, and you got the goats, and then you add kids. Whoa! So how many children are you allowed to have in your home, and what kind of guidelines and stuff are you going to have in order, COVID and distancing and all that? I'll be adding an apple to my seed potatoes when the stream is over. Me too, Sheepdog Patriot. My only question is, do I just put a whole apple or do I need to cut it up? I tried 5-gallon bucket potatoes this year. Excellent method so far. I'm looking forward to harvesting Easton right. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it too. I follow Sustainable Stewards container thing, and she said she gets tons of potatoes, so I'm hoping I get tons of potatoes too. Growing any Jerusalem artichoke, great survival crop. Somebody sent me some. Somebody like Linda Hipple or Granny Ginger's Farm, one of those ladies who comes on here, sent us Jerusalem artichoke, a ginger, and turmeric. And the Jerusalem artichoke took. We planted it, it took. I planted the ginger in a little bed all by itself with really good soil, but it has not come up yet. And I'm wondering if it doesn't need more sun. And then I put the turmeric down in the orchard. So we'll see, again, if it's going to come up. But the Jerusalem artichoke, she sent, we planted, it's coming up. So yay, there, that problem solved. Thank you so much. Sorry I don't remember exactly which wonderful lady sent it, but she did a great job. Might even have been Gardener 67. But we've got it. I think I'm going to transition my garden spot to a water garden. What do you mean by a water garden? Do you mean like hydroponics? Or are you going to set up those Northwest Arkansas prepper, those PVC pipe things and have the water system running through like Ozark Geek did? Because for someone like me and him who don't want to bend over and don't want to squat down, I think those are a really neat idea. And those really big raised beds, because eventually I'm not going to be able to kneel down like that. Spreads like wildfire. Oh, good. Well, then we'll have tons of it. Including mine. They want us to start slow with just a few kids. Haven't gotten any more answers on cleaning practices yet, so we shall see. I mean, I considered it a lot when I was homeschooling, but I just couldn't picture dividing my attention between my own 3 and then, whoever else has showed up. But I did do things like Girl Scouting, so good for you, Pharma. Easton right, I'm trying the 5-gallon buckets, 2 of them. So worried that would be too small. Ginger will be slow to start that. Okay, Linda, thank you. Can I assume you cut the apple first before adding? That was my other question. This is terrible, but I've never eaten artichoke. I'm not a huge artichoke lover, but my son and my daughters have fixed it before, and it's been pretty tasty. But the Jerusalem artichoke is a root. It's more like a potato. And something about it gives you a lot of gas, but I think you sort of you can bake it or you can fry it. And I just like the idea of having plants around that I can eat. And I know I hit that point a lot, but my personality type is a realist. And I look at all the plants that are around me. I mean, we live in a jungle. And I think, okay, what use are you to me, plant? Like, there's even a briar out here, and it's a wicked briar, man. It's got big old thorns on it, and it's a tough vine. And even that briar I let grow because my goats will eat the leaves. But then I just found out I can eat that thing too. And so I'm like, all right, you guys, I'm not going to cut you all down. I cut down a lot of them because I don't like sticker bushes. But I will let some of them live here just because it can be eaten versus plants that are there that do nothing for me. I'm like, I'd rather have some other plant that I can use versus you. Got to get back to work, but I don't really want to go. Lots to do to catch up after the rain. Shalom, Sister Kate. Shalom, Lamp Keeper. is still underwater from the last rain and now it's pouring. Just being silly. Okay. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that's our garden too. A water garden. I'm telling you, the ducks love it, and it makes our water catchment, like I've got my clothes out on the clothesline right now simply because I know they're going to get rinsed. They may not get dry for a week and a half, or I may have to bring them inside, fire up that wood stove and dry them off, but I use that rain. It's very useful to me, so even though, a sunny day would be nice, sunchokes and turmeric growing here. Even though a sunny day would be nice, I'm okay when it rains too, because we have uses for it. You can leave it whole or cut the apple. I wouldn't go smaller than a quarter. You want it to produce the ethylene gas that causes the potatoes to sprout. Well, hallelujah. I only work Monday to Thursday and we'll be taking back those kids. Well, bless you, Pharma. I think that's really nice of you. And you look like you have a very nice, clean place and fun stuff for them to do. Chasing life. Whoa. As I've grown, I've been adding oil to soil around the stalks and hoping will increase yield. That's how you do it. Can you do a video on homeschooling? I homeschool myself as a newbie, and I feel with everything going on in the world that more parents are going in that direction. I have one on homeschooling. If you go to my YouTube channel, to the search box, and just type in homeschooling, I have a video on homeschooling. Now, I will do a little aside right now, and I will give you some advice on homeschooling, because I think it's a wonderful thing, and I think there's a couple of issues that hold people back. So, homeschooling is not like regular schooling. Do not expect yourself to homeschool for an 8-hour day. Just take that little expectation that you have to recreate a school in your home and chuck it out the window. Because home life is not school life. School, the way we know it here in America, is fashioned on training people to be factory workers, to sit in a room together and do tasks in one space right in front of them, and then have a bell tell them when they can get up and go to the bathroom or eat or anything and regulate their day. Think of your home as the place that you instill in your children the lessons you want them to learn, okay? So, you have to understand what you are doing when you homeschool your children is you are feeding your children's minds. What do you want your children to learn, and what do you want your children to be capable of doing? Okay? So I'm just going to take an aside. This person online here, John, we've met John. He taught us how to do some blacksmithing. And John is a very outdoorsy, very productive person. What makes America great is that people like John are going to raise up, if he decides to. I'm using him as a type. I'm not saying him specifically, but let's pretend, there's a guy named Bob who's very much like him, okay? If Bob teaches his children everything he knows, what Bob is doing is Bob is producing people who are very productive, work outdoors, can run machinery, can build things like Westhold Forge. He's a blacksmith too. He can teach his children how to blacksmith. How does it work? How do you melt the metal down? How do you beat it with the hammer? How many twists you have to, do you add things to it? If he teaches them the process of that and then encourages them to think about it, what happens is they start experimenting with it. Another good example is Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods' dad started teaching him to golf when he was 4 years old. And by the time he became an adult, he was really good at it, and then he became world famous as being a golfer. Same thing with Venus and Serena Williams. Their parents taught them how to play tennis very young, and they became experts, and it became how they lived their lives. So instead of thinking you have to make your child be able to sit quietly in a classroom and read or do whatever's put in front of them, teach your children what you know, what you value, the skills and how to learn. Teach them how to read, how to write, how to communicate, and use any tools that you have. I'll tell a story very quickly that is probably in the homeschool video that I shot before. There was one year in my children's homeschool careers when I decided I wasn't going to use a curriculum, because my first year I used a curriculum that was for missionaries' children, and it was very academic, and it was just fine. I mean, it worked the way I wanted it to work. They sent me everything I needed. They sent me a math book, a reading book, a story book, rulers, pencils, paper, everything. And I did that. 2 years after that, I decided I wasn't going to use any curriculum at all. And so I bought the School Zone books that are about 30 pages, the National Geographic magazine, and encyclopedias that we had, and Ranger Rick magazine. I used some computer games that were math-oriented, English-oriented. I had lots of games. I had, colorful magnets for them to put together, and we did simple science experiments at home, and there was no overarching curriculum other than, let's finish this book that we started, let's try this project, let's play these games. And my child that I got tested that year tested off the charts. The only thing he tested at his grade level for in that year was the math, because that's all I taught him. I wasn't a great math student either, but he at least was at his grade level for math, and he tested off the charts. He was reading at a collegiate. History was 7th and 8th grade. His science was like 7th and 8th grade. So your homeschooling should not take you more than about 2 or 3 hours a day, and then involve your children in what you do every day. If you clean, have them help you clean. If you cook, have them help you cook. If you, make marketing campaigns online, teach them how to do marketing campaigns online. And also have age-appropriate books, toys, games for them to play, and teach them games. Teach them games like how to do checkers, hide and go seek. There's a million games online. Duck, Duck, Goose. Kids love to play Duck, Duck, Goose. They love to play Red Rover, send Judy on over. I mean, they need to be physically and mentally challenged, but it doesn't have to be just boxed in. And what that did, at least for my kids, because my goal for my kids was to make my kids very smart, because I felt like the world is an easier place to navigate through if you're smart. And it worked. They were all 3 valedictorians of their high school class, because I homeschooled them for a while, and then when we got to a school system I thought was okay, I put them in that school system. Now I wouldn't even have done that. I probably would have homeschooled them their whole life, but I also did do other things with them. We went to libraries, we went to museums, they had dance classes, sometimes my son had fencing. There was fencing classes available where we lived, so we learned some fencing, with the touche and the sword and everything. I knew moms who did swimming regularly. I knew moms who had language classes for their kids. Now in COVID, it may not be as easy to do that, but you can go to outdoor places in COVID. You can go on trips to parks and look at rivers and all the landscape around you. You can look at historical mills and parks with battlefields and all sorts of things. So don't be boxed in your homeschooling. Use everything. I used to joke that roadkill was a homeschool lesson. You could pick up that dead animal and do a necropsy on it and talk about the parts of it. The one animal we did that with was a fox who had just been hit by a car. And so what we studied was like the feet, had little teeny tiny feet, little teeny nose, the whiskers, how big the ears were. And then my husband ended up making a fur out of that fox. Anyway, my number one point was don't try to recreate a school. My number 2 point was teach your children what you want them to learn, what you want to come out of their mouths. If you teach them that you are too busy for them and you're overwhelmed by this challenge and you can't do it, you're teaching your children that they should fail, that they should find something they don't understand and to let it overcome them, versus if you teach them what you know, like how to change the oil in your car, they see you as a capable person and they will want to be a capable person too. As a matter of fact, my son called us recently and told me that he found a bicycle someone had thrown away that needed some work, and my son is a mechanic because a neighbor showed him how to work on cars, and so his son is rebuilding that bicycle, and his son is, I think this year, 6 years old. 6, right? 5 or 6, and my son also got him some tools for his size so that he can, twist and turn and pry. So that's what homeschooling should be. It should be something you enjoy together, and have lighthearted fun as well as serious. And watch movies. If you can find historic movies with good stories in it, that's not too violent for them, and not just cartoons. I'm talking a real movie. Do that thing. All right, that was a very long answer. I'm sorry, you guys. Hello, Steven. Any tips? Oh, someone already gave you a tip for the mildew. All right. Families, safe manufacturers are allowed to homeschool and do it. Unfortunately, in many other countries, people can't. It's against the law. Greek Homestead, nowadays, they have to homeschool because they're told to stay home. I can't tell you the difference since we switched. My son has flourished. He's more confident. His critical thinking through the roof. Is now a voracious reader. Oh, awesome, Chasing Life. I'm so glad. Just got to find a woman to put up with me, John. The Father knows that woman. If you have faith, and he will put you two together, and she will be perfect for you. Not perfect. She won't be perfect in the worldwide sense. She's not going to be Heidi Klum or whatever, but she will be a perfect match for you. That's how the Father works. Never made a better decision in my life. Of course, all kiddos are different and got to tailor to each child, but I would say, oh what? I love having our children home. I do not like our school system because the curriculum is awful. We homeschooled them to the 8th grade, then put our son in Christian school. Useful skills at home with you. We've done organs and the kids loved it. A messy YouTube mom unschools her 7 kids. She loves the philosophy behind it. I knew a mom who kind of unschooled her kids too, and they were behind. Now, she had her own issues. God bless her. She's still a friend of mine, but man, she was personally very self-destructive. But the thing was, like her kids, she taught them hard work. She would have one kid washing the dishes for the entire 8, 9, 10 person family, like for a year. That kid would do nothing but wash the dishes up after they ate dinner as one of their chores. She had a library full of books in her house, but she wasn't teaching them to read, so they eventually kind of taught each other a bit. But her husband decided that he'd had enough, and so they put them back in school. They hadn't been vaccinated either, and they got vaccinated. And for just a short while, they had to go into the remedial class to learn math and reading. But once they did that, they were smart enough that they started catching up with their peers, and they started to excel at the things that they could excel at. The one girl had a beautiful voice, and so when she went into choir, she got picked out and she started doing solos. The other girl graduated and became a firefighter in the Air Force. So even though I didn't agree with her unschooling, it was more neglectful, I guess, because they were safe, they were warm, they were fed, and they were learning. She had all kinds of things. She had tons of toys, she had a huge house. So in the long run, they were doing okay. But I think you can do better than that. Thank you so much. Okay, so on that topic, and I know Chasing Life's answer to this, if any of you are going to be doing homeschooling, and I'll just touch on this here, I try not to be, a commercial kind of person. My daughter and I are still in talks about the Hebrew alphabet magnets, I have magnets on my Etsy store. It's called Israelite Market, and they are refrigerator magnets, and they are just a set that has pictures from the story of Rahab and the fall of the walls of Jericho, and then I have some flowers that I painted here on Shofar Mountain. We're talking seriously about doing a set of the Hebrew alphabet on the magnets, hand painted, little paintings, a little picture with the letter name, and then what is it, the Paleo Hebrew, like the letter A is based on the ox head, and then it has its Hebrew name, and so we're picturing hand painting like an ox head and stuff on it. If you think you'd be interested in something like that, just say yes, and then we will carry through on it, because it's a pretty big project. I think there's 23 letters in the alphabet, so that would be 23 hand-painted little canvases that then have to be made into magnets. It's a lot of work, so we're still talking about that. Homeschooling isn't for everyone, but it may end up having to be just because of the way the governments are telling people to stay home. Again, even if you don't want to homeschool, you can at least get videos or games or books or things like that that would help your children learn. If you don't want to be standing over them and be in a teacher position and stuff, you can still make things available, because there's online classes now and whole curriculums that you can order with everything that's needed, including, correcting books and the booklets and everything else. So here's one of the magnets. This is Rahab and her mom climbing over the walls of Jericho and her tower behind her, because only her home survived the walls of Jericho falling down. Anyway. Yes, Kaijin said yes. Okay, all right. Like you said, you know my answer. I love them. We've actually worked the magnets that we got from you into school. Yeah, and another thing I'm considering is, along with that, is maybe animal ones too. Like a turtle and a bird. Ones that are here on Shofar Mountain, because that's what I would end up painting. But okay, thank you, ladies. I just wanted to make sure before we plunge into that project, because my daughter's very talented too, and she said she would help. Worry about grandchildren with the new rules of interaction when school starts. Yeah, see, that's why, in my mind, homeschooling is the answer. You know where your kids are, you know what they're eating, you know what they're exposed to. They can't be preyed upon, because school systems are supposed to be safe, but they're not necessarily, and people like coaches and some teachers just want to be near children because they want to have influence on children in a bad way. So if you have no control over the situation, then I would say just pray for them. Pray that your grandchildren be safe, and that their parents decide the best course of action for them. But I can't. My kids are raised. My grandkids are being homeschooled. I'm not an authority on the modern school system, although I have 2 kids who are teaching in it, but they're teachers. They are teachers that are there for the good of the children. They're affecting those kids positively. Should I move to Oklahoma or Arkansas? Wherever you want, brother. We recommend the Ozarks. That's 4 states total, and a lot of the bigger cities are in those states have communities of believers, and I mean like a population of believers. Once you get there, you kind of search them out, figure out where they are, make your contacts, and so on. And I'm not saying move into the big city. I'm saying if you move, let's say, half hour away, you should be able to find other believers if that's what you're interested in. If you just want to be a rural person who's self-sufficient, I would say look at the country as a whole and figure out what exactly you want your rural property to be like. You want it to be rocky? Do you want it to be flat? You want it to be forested? Do you want to have a stream running through it? You kind of have to narrow down where you move to according to what you want it to look like. I'm very fond of rolling hills that are forested. And I've lived in several states in this country and have found that in those states. So I'm biased. Someone who likes really hot, flat would probably like western Oklahoma, northern Texas. Somebody who really wants mountains would probably love Utah, Colorado, or the Appalachians, or the Cascades. So you kind of have to decide. Okay, escorted to a bathroom one at a time to make sure they wash. Yeah, you know, do you trust the person escorting them? I used to also substitute teach, and little kids were harder for me. I like to be able to substitute teach middle schoolers and high schoolers because they can at least talk to you. And there was one little kid in the classroom, I talked to him and he just shut down. He would not answer me, he would not move, he just was frozen in his chair. And so I had to get the principal, I said, I've asked this child to get up, I've told him, it's bathroom break time or something, and the other kids have gone, and I wasn't having to escort them at the time, but I had to say yes or no if they could go. And he just shut down, and the principal actually physically picked this kid up, and the kid just stayed locked and carried him to the office. The principal said, yeah, he does this sometimes, and he left. There's so many things that would just break my heart. Being in a classroom with kids, if they came in dirty, if they came in hungry, if they came in and they had no shoes on or no socks on, it's too much for me. It overwhelms me. And Adenir says he kind of likes Texas. I have to go and get stuff done. Love the chat. Shalom. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Thank you. You too. No physical activities. Yeah, see, no. Is it a viable option for them to come stay with you? For you to watch them during the day? Yeah, I've been on now for about an hour, so I'm probably going to get offline too, just because it is prep day and I've got a lot of work I need to do. Any last questions before I go? Because you have me now, and then I'm going to be, who knows, next live stream we're going to have. So if there's a burning question. You've got teachers, right, Sister Kate? Your daughter's a teacher in the public school. My daughter and my son both are teachers. Although my daughter right now is at the college level. She's a graduate teacher's assistant. And my son is high school level. So many troubled kids. I worked with a 7-year-old that would not talk in class at all. His mom pulled him out of school. Yeah. There's just, if I had the time and the energy and I was, 20 years younger, I would probably open a private school just for kids like that, because I would end up being that safe haven in the middle of their lives. I would have extra toothbrushes and extra clothes and all sorts of things for those kids who show up like that. It's just, and then I would not be able to charge any money because poor kids can't afford a school like that. Oh, thank you, Chasing Life. He would talk at home, though. I never heard of him. Yeah, they live too far away. Chrissy, then you're just going to have to pray. And maybe send them packages in the mail. Maybe send them little cards and things to keep their spirits up. All right, you guys. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Well, that bucket just tipped over. All right, guys. I'm going to have to go. Have a good heart. Is that drywall behind the tarp? It is, KKRN. It is drywall covered. He's only going to need to use a little of it, and I'm not sure what we're going to do with the rest. All right. Shalom, you guys. Bless you. Bye. Bye. Shalom.